I'd like to acknowledge that this episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast was recorded at Parramatta Public School on the homelands of the Darug people. I'd like to pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. Welcome to the Teach New South Wales podcast, a podcast by teachers for teachers.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast.
Hold on, Shannon. Something doesn't feel quite right.
Oh. See? That's much better. So much better. Look, for those who are tuning in at home, maybe you're just listening and not viewing, but we have found ourselves some very, very fancy new outfits for today's episode. And I am so excited to introduce our guest today. We are joined on the couch by Rodney. So welcome, Rodney.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm equally as excited.
Thanks for bringing a bit of sparkle to the couch.
Yes.
Just like Shannon was saying, we've got some props that we're wearing today that you have so kindly provided. But with all our guests, we love to do a bit of a warm-up, an icebreaker. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. I would love to know the soundtrack to your life. You know, it could be to your teaching life or your personal life, but what's one song that best represents you?
I was so nervous about this particular section because I saw all the vlogs before, and this intro section was the thing that made me the most nervous. Soundtrack to my teaching career. Let's go. The first thing that comes into my head is "This Is Me" from Greatest Showman.
Love it.
Great song, great track. Love Hugh Jackman, but also like the messaging behind it as well about being yourself and being authentic and being you in the classroom, outside of the classroom. Is so important.
That's perfect.
Celine Dion also came to mind, but like that doesn't really match up. My hold on isn't really
We love. And what about some emojis that would describe you? If you could think some emojis, maybe three that best describe you.
I love the emoji with the crying face.
Yes.
I love making people laugh and smile. Yeah.
My favorite,
I love the rainbow one as well. And the love heart. They're the three that I think often, are coming up on my phone.
Oh, nice. And what about what would we find in the top drawer of your teaching desk?
The top drawer of my teaching desk.
Yeah.
Lollies.
Yes.
I love snacking on lollies. Even if I don't have them at the top of my desk, I will go into the office and try and find somebody else's, and I hope that I'm not going to get in trouble for that. I love blue tack. You can never go wrong with blue tack.
It's so versatile. You can do so much with it.
Yeah, and I often get in a little bit of trouble for putting blue tack up around the school as well on different walls where I shouldn't be. So my apologies for using blue tack incorrectly. And colourful pens as well. I love that as well. Yeah.
Add a bit of colour to life.
Exactly. Well, now that you're all warmed up, let's get to the serious stuff.
Let's do it.
We want to know about you, Rodney.
Yes.
What drew you to teaching in the first place? And, how did your journey from radio production to performing lead you into the classroom?
Super good question. So my beautiful mum is an early childcare teacher. And so for my whole life, always been in that education space. When I was in high school, I felt like a real strong connection to the teachers that were really, majority of the teachers were really loving and caring and showed so much support towards me. And it was just such a beautiful space. And I feel like so many teachers really drew so many wonderful, positive traits out of me at like a really early age. Year 11 and 12 was peak when I got to connect with the teachers at a more senior level. And I just, the teachers were so wonderful. And I was like, great, I want to get into this. I really want to make an impact as well in a classroom when I grow up, and still growing up and still making, still doing it.
Yeah. Sounds like you had some advocates in your corner for you to pursue teaching.
I did.
Now, was it always just teaching, or did you have something else alongside teaching that was also a passion?
Yeah, I always loved performing. I always loved putting shows on. I remember at a real early age, like getting all the kids on the street, putting them all into my house, and I got the piano out and would put shows on. So I loved putting things together, directing, producing. Loved performing, loved working with other people as well. Like that was a really big thing. So as soon as I finished high school, went to uni, but I also loved theatre and education as well. So teaching students and teaching others, through drama or through performing or in a different space was something that I really kind of,
honed in on. So
Yeah.
thinking about your teaching and then also bringing that love of theatre and performing, how did those two experiences shape the teacher you are and what you bring to the classroom?
a lot of glitter, a lot of energy, a lot of glitz and glam, which I think is like really important in the profession. Kind of having that energy is, I think crucial to being in the classroom. I'm not saying that every single teacher needs to be constantly putting on shows and going over the top, but kind of bringing that energy and bringing that that side of it into the classroom is really important to connecting with the students.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we've talked about, I guess, what drew you to teaching,
Yep.
but of course you mentioned you've had a whole career and you are a
Before.
career changer coming into this
Yeah.
profession.
Had a life before the
I had a
classroom.
full life
Yeah.
before the classroom.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, he's lived.
I've
So
lived.
tell us. I guess I'm super interested in understanding because you would bring with you a whole suite of skills, experiences, attributes. How did that support you within your teaching?
If anything, it made my teaching, my practice so much stronger.
Yeah.
I had a range of stories to kind of share with the students and a whole range of experiences as well that I learned from previous professions, and I was able to bring that into the classroom. And the kids and students love it. Like they love hearing stories about when I was on tour doing stuff with a theatre and education group, or when I was working in radio, when I was in all these different spaces. The students absolutely loved it. And like I said, I think it makes yourself as a teacher as well, like a lot stronger, building on those strengths that you've built.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before.
And the department offers scholarships for career changes as well. So people who are looking to jump into the profession and get paid to study, because we know that can be a barrier for a lot of people in deciding to switch professions. So there are some really great mechanisms and supports out there that people can make the most of.
Yeah,
to become a teacher.
space.
Best job in the world.
So good.
And you touched on it earlier, but the teachers in your own life, particularly when you're in year 11 and 12 and those more pivotal senior years, which I definitely found myself, that's when I connected the most with my teachers. How do you think the way that they showed up for you and showed that care towards you, do you think in any way it's influenced the way you teach your own students?
Yeah, 100%. Like I draw back and I constantly reflect on it, in the classroom and always saying to the students, oh, when I was in year 11, or when I was in year 7, or when I was in high school. So I'm always drawing on those experiences. And it's totally shaped me to be the not only teacher that I am, but I think human being and person that I am today, which
absolutely
shows the long effects of what a teacher can do.
Yeah. Do you have some particular wellbeing initiatives at your school that you engage in, or just some particular practices in your classroom that you draw upon to create those sort of safe environments?
The biggest thing for me is making sure that every student in my classroom always has a voice and is always seen and can be themselves. So before, like at the beginning of every year, or before ever even when you're meeting the students for the first time, making them know and feel valued, I think is so important, because as soon as students feel that safety in the classroom, I think it really unlocks doors and opens up their minds to be able to be creative or be themselves or work in particular ways. So having those really kind of inclusive spaces, I think are really, really important in a school.
Talking about that sort of springs to mind like that authenticity piece. And I suppose when I think of year 11 and 12 and thinking of my own teacher mentors, I guess showing up as your true self. And when you sort of see that from a role model such as your teacher, it kind of instills in you as a student, like, hey, it's okay to be me. Like, I'm actually quite great.
Totally, yeah.
If I do say so
And you
myself.
are. Totally,
Quote unquote. But I'd like to unpack, I guess, what does it mean as a teacher to show up as your true self and to bring that to the classroom and to build that safe environment, I guess, now the other side of things. You come from being mentored in that to now bringing it into your own classroom. What does it mean to you?
It's a really, really powerful tool and something that I think a lot of teachers do, if not all teachers should be doing it. Because like I said before, once you kind of unlock and open up that door for students to be themselves and to be their authentic selves, learning and contributing to learning and engaging in the content, like it just allows them to kind of be themselves and be in your classrooms. And I think as a teacher as well, it's not something that happens when you first walk into a classroom. Like in my first year, I didn't walk in and I was like, great, this is who I am. Like it takes a bit of time for yourself as well to feel comfortable and to feel comfortable and be yourself in that classroom. And sometimes it can be really scary as well. And you feel real vulnerable being yourself. But I think that's when the students connect with you the most, when you are your authentic self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we're by no means suggesting that you have to come out into the classroom and tell students everything that you
No.
about
Oh.
yourself or, but
In-
striking that balance. Because I
Yeah.
feel like, in one way we do sort of craft a teaching identity for
Yeah.
ourselves, which
Yeah.
can be a little bit different to our, identity outside of those school gates. But I feel like a lot of the time that essence of who you are
Your
has to
morals,
come
your
through in your
values.
teaching
100%.
identity.
It's all about that essence.
And because we do have a lot of pre-service teachers listening, and it
Yeah.
is something that they find,
Yeah.
particularly those who, have gone straight from school into university and then into the classroom.
Yeah.
They struggle at sometimes they're only 4 years of an age gap between
Yeah.
them and year 12, for
Totally.
example. So it is
Yeah.
a real sort of
Balance.
balance and
Yeah.
a real point that people are interested in. So please do go on. I just
Yeah.
thought I'd mention.
I think, and it following obviously code of conduct, the department's code of conduct, I'm making sure that you're not doing or saying anything inappropriate in the classroom, is definitely something just definitely highlight. But yeah, being yourself and kind of having those connections with students to all pre-service teachers, number one thing, it really helps you in the long run in behavior management, content. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose we talk about relationships so much. It's so, pivotal to our craft
Yeah.
and to developing those connections with our students as well. And
Yeah.
I guess you really sort of see the, I don't know, fruits come to fruition, or whatever the saying
Fruits
is.
of your labor.
Fruits of your labor,
totally.
thank you. When you invest in your time in connecting with students, but as yourself, as your true self, and bringing that authenticity to the classroom is so important.
Yeah.
And so your role is head teacher programs.
Yes.
What does that actually mean and look like in your school?
Good question. So in my school, head teacher programs. So I work across the school, and I work with our Aboriginal education teams to bring in and introduce and kind of follow through and develop the programs for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students from year 7 to 12, but also working with our local primary school network to kind of, working with the younger students as well, which is, I love it. It's amazing. We've also got an instrumental music program at our school, which has over 180 students. So and managing that is with the conductors and with the students and with performances. Last year we had over 80 performances at the school, which was, a lot of music playing. It was a lot of fun. And then, on top of all that, being a drama high school teacher as well, which I absolutely love.
Sounds like you're part of a lot of initiatives that bring about that connection piece across the school.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you build that sense of connection across students, staff, community through these programs and initiatives.
I think it's all about, I know I keep saying this, but about being yourself. And I think it's a role where you really are working along a massive scope of, and so many different areas and so many different spaces. And it's a real, I think, people kind of job where you really are always meeting different people. And I think people really connect with you or with me, hopefully, when they meet me to kind of follow through kind of these programs. But the biggest thing as well is working with the students. That's what I absolutely love. And everything that I do in the school is totally driven 100% by the students. So if that's an area that they want to be working in, or if it's a song they want to be performing, or it's a program, or whatever it is, whether it's going to the art gallery or whether it's going to wherever, everything that I do is totally run by the students, which I absolutely love.
And outside of this, you're also deeply involved in the Pride Network, right?
I am, yes.
For those who might not be familiar with the Pride Network, I'd love if you could just give us a quick overview of what it actually is, who it's for, you know, how you can become a part of the Pride Network. Yeah.
So the Pride Network is for all staff in the Department of Education, whether you're an ally or whether you identify in the LGBTQIA plus space. You're more than welcome to join it. It's on Viva Engage. I'm sure there'll be a link or a URL somewhere where you can be a part of it, because we're always looking for new members. And it's a great space and community for, I guess, everybody to come together, share highlights in your teaching day, or share highlights in your classroom, or share highlights of even something great that you did or saw on the weekend. It's a really great space, for everyone to be a part of and connect, and a really supportive network. And there's so many great initiatives that we have within the network as well, like Mardi Gras, whether it's events that we kind of meet up and just kind of say hi in person. It's a space for people to know that they belong within the department.
Yeah. And for you, how did the journey begin within the Pride in Education Network? And I guess I'd really be interested in hearing on what it means for you, both personally and professionally.
Yeah. So I first started, I got an email, I got an email being like, oh, if you'd like to be a part of the Mardi Gras ballot, click this link, be a part of it. We're looking for people to be, as part of the Mardi Gras float.
And this was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? It was
4
our
years ago. Yes,
Yeah.
the first ever department float. I had somebody tap me on the shoulder being like, you should do it. You should go for it. And I was like, definitely not.
Really?
I was like, I couldn't
It's not
think
me.
of any, like, I'm such an out there person. I love, the whole glitz and glam, but I was like, I just, it's a scary space. And being a part of Mardi Gras, it's a massive stage where there's lots of people looking at you, and it's connecting. I guess I was really nervous to connect myself and my identity on that level with the department of who I was, or within Mardi Gras. It was really scary, and with a lot of reflection. It was obviously endorsed by the department and by the Pride Network, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do it. Like, now's the time. I'm so proud of myself, and I've never, I guess, taken that step to be a part of it.
It's brave.
Yeah, it was super, super brave, like really brave. And I'm acknowledging that there are people in the LGBTQIA plus space in the department where being a part of Mardi Gras isn't for them, because it is a huge platform. And after going down that street for the first time, it was probably one of the most emotional experiences of my life. Like a range of emotions. There was like super happy.
Is it liberating?
Liberating. I was kind of sad because it was over. But
Let's run it back.
Let's go back the other way and start. It was just this whole range of emotions that kind of came over me, and I'm so thankful that the department gave me and all these other people a space for us to be ourselves. And it was really, really incredible. And the following year, an EOI came up for somebody to be a part of or lead. And it was, again, I think definitely one of the highlights of my time within the department.
Wow. It's such a journey of, just taking that one step to sort of find that it's almost like a community within a community, right? Because in the Department of Education, people from all walks of life, and but finding that network within itself, and you being able to identify this is this really scary moment and time, and just because you're a part of that network doesn't mean you need to be involved in these sort of activities. And so for you to then move on and become the lead of the program stream is such a
I was like, really?
I was
why did I get into this? But I like advice that I'd also give, because somebody gave me this advice, because when I had that first EOI and I was like, I spoke to my principal. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. I'm really nervous. Do I apply? And the principal was like, Rodney, if there's an opportunity like here, go for it. Like, you'd really and it's a big and scary step. But like, as soon as you make that step and as soon as you make that jump, the world's your oyster.
And the Mardi Gras float itself, I suppose, thinking back 4 years ago, it's had such a powerful impact across the department. But it's not as if we can just click our fingers and a float appears.
If you know anybody or anywhere where to make that possible, it takes quite a bit of time to put it all together.
I can imagine. And, part of what I've been told, I'm sitting here in last season's, but
this is last season's, Mardi Gras shirts.
Wearing the newest,
we're in the current.
latest and greatest.
we are actually fortunate enough to wear these costumes that sort of were showcased at the Mardi Gras float at the parade.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit more about like the involvement of our across the department within building that float and having it and bringing it to the parade.
So over the past 4 years collectively, we've had hundreds of staff be a part of it, which is great, whether it's contributing to actually building the set, whether it's marching down the street, whether it's sending resources or things to be a part of the float. Whether it's helping me kind of create or design the concept. There's been so many different people, and I'm so hand on heart, so thankful to every single person that has kind of helped to bring this together. It's been a really, really powerful journey, and I'm so thankful again, for everyone to be a part of it.
I mean, for people who might not know, like I saw it last year. Was it the pencils, the giant pencils?
Yes, we've had giant pencils. Last year we had these massive foam hands and this massive rainbow coming out the top of it with all these LED lights. Cool. We've had drag queens in it. We've had this year the largest rainbow that's ever been in the department's float, which is 8 meters long by 5 meters wide. So it literally took up the whole street of staff holding it. Yes, that was fun to put together.
Yeah.
We've
yeah.
had placards. We've had, so many different props, handheld, fans, costumes, wigs,
Mm,
absolutely everything you can think of.
yeah.
A part
It's
of
a
it.
whole production.
Yeah.
And I sit back and I think, I guess, like, to you, what do you think it means having that representation in the Mardi Gras parade for
Yeah.
our students,
Oh.
for our, people who work across the organization, and even for our communities as
Yeah.
well?
That's such a powerful question. When I was in primary school or even in high school, I never ever would have thought that something like this, I think, would ever been possible. And I'm so happy that the department's, so supportive of it. But it's the impact that it has on students, on staff, on the wider community. Murat said it himself, like walking down that street, I'm not even trying to be biased, but I really think the Department of Education gets the loudest cheer and screams. And again, like it makes you so, like I promise I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to do anything. But like the screams that you get, and even seeing your current students on the side kind of cheering on, Mr. P's there, or cheering on other staff across the department. It's just so beautiful. And then the emails that you get posted from families being like, my son, my daughter, whoever they are, stayed up late or stayed up to watch
Yeah,
the department's float
televised.
on TV. And then the smiles on the students' faces from even just seeing that. That representation is huge. And
Powerful.
I can't wait. Like already we're seeing an impact in schools with student voices and students really wanting to be themselves and be heard.
Yeah.
Watch this space for the future, because I think these kids, it's strong. It's real. There's a lot of power there.
So, Rodney, what advice would you give to teachers who are looking to create safe spaces where students can feel confident to express themselves? Because as we know, inclusion it doesn't belong to one network,
Yep.
right? Inclusion is a value that stems across the broader department. So,
For
would you-
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think the biggest thing for all staff to know is that every single student that walks into the gates of a Department of Education school, or even outside the gates, every student matters, and every single student has their own personality, has their own quirks, has their own identity as well. And students really, from my experience, students really value when that's seen and acknowledged in a classroom. By being a kind person and being a kind human being, I think is like rule number one to be doing. There's a whole different range and a whole different scope of things you can be doing. I know that by even putting a rainbow or trans flag in your classroom, or celebrating key events in the department, like Idaho Day or Wear It Purple Day, there's so many different levels and things that you can be doing. But at the core, being a kind human being, I think, is one of the most important things that you can do for the students.
Now, Rodney, we love to ask people who join us on the couch
Yes.
about their why.
Yeah.
What's your purpose? What drives your excitement, invigoration for education?
Yeah.
Why do you get up and do it?
Yeah. Why do I get up and do it? I do it 100% for the students and for the families, and for the community, for the people that I work with as well. Like I absolutely love the staff at my school, and not even at my school, at local schools as well. Like I'm so proud to be a Department of Education employee and staff member. And I think that's like a real massive why I do it. And like I said before, I cannot wait for the future. I mean, it's even happening now, but I cannot wait to see like what these students are going to be doing, like in the classroom. The ideas and the concepts and their creativity and their energy is so like it's real, like it's amazing. So I can't wait to see once they all graduate school the different paths and what they're going to be doing on our society. But in saying that, the things are already happening now within the classroom. So
But it's been such a short amount of time that we've seen that sort of incremental visibility, I suppose. And so, I can only imagine the way of the future is going to be really strong and safe in the hands of people like you who are
thank
guiding
you.
the next generation.
Yeah, and it
And-
excites me to talk about,
Yeah.
there's a place for everyone in public education.
Totally.
And I think that's definitely something that I felt throughout my time,
Yeah.
not only as a student, but as a teacher as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to think about when you're in your classroom with your students, I guess, what advice do you have for our pre-service teachers, early career teachers, experienced teachers, anyone listening at all, really?
Yeah.
Bring your authentic self. I
Yeah.
guess, what does that look like? What advice do you have?
being your authentic self, like I said, I think it takes a bit of time to kind of get used to for your pre-service teachers. I remember when I first started teaching, this is going to sound so funny, I can't believe I'm saying it. Like I walked into the classroom and I was like, all right, we're doing sport. In my head when I first started teaching, I had this image of what being a teacher looked like and sounded like. And I think over time, the students are like, you're not being yourself and you're not being your authentic self. And the students really saw that. And
They have that discernment, don't they?
yeah, they do. They know. They're like, this isn't real. Like this is, you're putting something on. But yeah, I think being yourself like that in that level or any level, opens up all these doors for the students to connect with you as well.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because I feel like teachers are often portrayed certain ways in like movies and entertainment and shows and things like that. So often we kind of sit with this perception, even though we've all gone through school, etc. And we've seen our real human teachers. But you kind of build up this, it's almost like a persona or an image.
I totally did. I walked in there and I had like a rugby ball under my arm and I was like, let's do this. And everyone's like, no.
You can always count on the children.
And now I can kick a football.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the PDHP department of my school, very proud of me.
Look at that. So obviously people can see if they're tuning in.
Yes.
There's some opportunity here to get involved.
There are lots of opportunities to be involved.
If you want to be creating costumes, helping with design, building a float, being involved in a variety of opportunities within the Pride and Education Network, I guess, what does that look like? How do I put my hand up and say, Rodney, I'm available?
We'll have you. 100%. Brett, you're in. We are, we would love as many people, the whole department, to be in the Pride
You might
Network.
be inundated after this episode.
Please, share the word.
Far and wide.
Yeah, there's so many different levels, whether you're interested in policy or whether you're interested in events, whether you're interested in being a part of Mardi Gras and helping with costumes, creating designs. We're always looking for people to kind of paint. That's like a number one thing that we love. If you're painting or if you've never picked up a paintbrush, I can teach you.
It's very therapeutic.
It's very, very therapeutic, especially in our workshop space. We're always playing some great kind of Pride anthems in the background, which makes it a little bit difficult to paint because you're dancing and splashing at the same time. So there's so many opportunities for people to be a part of it, whether you're interested in being a dancer or choreography or whether you just want to be a part of it and have a chat with someone.
So you've got a passion, you're an ally, or you want to, or you're someone who wants to get involved.
Totally.
How do I? Where do I go? Who do I contact?
So you can email us at Pride, Viva Engage, and all we do is we approve you. Come on in, share your stories, post some photos, or just
get involved.
Get involved
And then
in any
kicks
way.
off from there.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Wow, what a fantastic community to be a part of.
It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, Rodney, for joining us here on the couch today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you join us.
Are we done? Should we keep going? I don't know. Should we?
He's got so much more to say.
Like, what else should we say?
I'm thinking there's a part 2 on the horizon.
Oh my gosh, watch this space. Thank you so much, both for having me and for having a platform or a space for us to talk about this. Like, it's great being a part of the Pride Network and being a part of Mardi Gras, but it isn't just about being a part of the Mardi Gras parade. It's about being seen, being heard, being a part of a community. And I think it's really important, especially in teaching times. I think the reality is sometimes we have our real amazing happy days, but then sometimes
we need a bit more community.
We need a bit more community. We need that kind of network. And the fact that the department has these great networks available, it's not just the Pride Network. So a massive shout out to all of them. But it's really, really awesome. So thank you so much for giving us a voice to be seen and heard on your podcast. Very, very,
And thanks for making us look fantastic.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You've set the standard high for the next lot of guests. A prop they shall bring in faster.
Watch this space.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast. I'm sure you've learned a lot from Rodney's personal story, sharing the information and opportunities available when you join the Pride Network, and the department is an employer who values inclusion and belonging, absolutely. So thank you again for tuning in, and until then, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Teach New South Wales podcast, where we explore the dynamic world of education. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to be notified when new episodes become available. You can find us on social media via our handle @Teach New South Wales. Until next time, keep learning, keep teaching, and keep making a difference.
This podcast is produced by the Teach New South Wales team from the New South Wales Department of Education.